Hello, everybody, and welcome to ATP, also known as All Things Packer. And today I am going to talk about the round one of the 2021 NFL Draft that happened last night, and kind of go through the picks and think if I agree with them at what they should have picked. So for the first pick, we have the Jaguars selecting Trevor Lawrence, a quarterback out of Clemson. I expected this a lot. He was the number one pick for a while now. Uh, they would have been crazy to pick another person up there, but they needed a quarterback, and that's what they got. The second pick, we got Zach Wilson, quarterback BYU again. He was expected to go in the second pick. There wasn't any other quarterback that the Jets were going to take. Third, the 49ers took Trey Lance, one of the first surprising picks for other people, but in my mind, I think this was a great pick. A few days before the NFL draft, the 49ers were talking about how they loved Trey Lance a lot, better than Mac Jones and Justin Fields, and they did end up getting Trey Lance, and I believe that Trey Lance is going to be one of the top quarterbacks. I'm not going to say he's going to be the best out of this draft class, but he's certainly a solid pickup. For the Falcons pick Kyle Pitts, a tight end out of Florida. I saw this one go through. I was expecting that as well, but the Falcons, their defense is terrible. Their offense is just as bad. I wouldn't have imagined. I mean, I would imagine them that they could have taken a quarterback here just because Matt Ryan's 36, but tight end, for the Falcons, their thought process was taking the best player. They weren't trying to look for a position; they were just trying to take the best player in the draft. Fifth, the Bengals picked Ja'Marr Chase. There was a few mock drafts saying that the Bengals were going to pick Ja'Marr Chase. To be honest, this is not a real good pick, especially when Joe Burrow got injured last year. They needed offensive linemen. They needed help on the offensive line, but they did not pick that. The reason why they picked Ja'Marr Chase was because he played with Joe Burrow back in LSU, so they wanted that chemistry. Number 6, the Dolphins picked Jalen Waddle, a wide receiver. I saw them pick a wide receiver, like I said before, a few videos. I think my first video about the NFL draft needs is that the Dolphins just needed a few pieces to become a solid playoff team. One of those pieces were wide receivers. I really wish Ja'Marr Chase would have dropped down one more, but unfortunately he didn't. But the Dolphins picked up Jalen Waddle, the second best wide receiver out of the draft. The Lions, number 7, Penei Sewell. I really wish the Bengals would have picked him up, but I'm surprised he even dropped this far down. I mean, he should have been with the Bengals. I mean, he only dropped 2 spots, but he's a solid offensive tackle. It will help Jared Goff out a lot. The Panthers picked J.C. Horn. I didn't really. I mean, they need a lot of help on defense. At least they did pick defense. But if they didn't pick J.C. Horn, and if like the Broncos or something moved up one spot to take J.C. Horn, the Panthers would have took Patrick Surtain. Two cornerbacks going back to back, 2 good ones. In my mind, I think Patrick Surtain is going to be better than J.C. Horn, but let's see how that works out. Number 9, the Broncos pick Patrick Surtain, a cornerback. They need a quarterback. They need quarterback help. They picked defense, which is fine, but right now Drew Lock is seeming like a little bit of a bust. The reason why they picked a cornerback over a quarterback here is that there has been some news going around, especially yesterday, that I did not cover yet because I was busy. They are going all in on Aaron Rodgers because rumors going around saying that he does not want to play in Green Bay anymore. Sad to see that, and that sucks, but that's what the Broncos did. They picked a cornerback, and then they're planning on going all in for Aaron Rodgers, but I don't really see that happening. He's from the California area, so if he does not want to play for the Packers anymore and he wants to get traded away, he probably would go to the 49ers. 10, the Eagles picked Devontae Smith. They moved up from the Cowboys spot right now on 12th to 10th to pick a wide receiver. I don't really know what they were really thinking. They knew the Cowboys needed a linebacker or at least a defensive player just because Sean Lee retired this year. But it was a good pickup, especially for Jalen Hurts, a new quarterback, getting a rookie wide receiver. Number 11, the Bears traded up from 20 to 11. This was the very first surprise of the night. The Bears moved up 9 spots to take their future quarterback. In my mind, this is better. This is a better pickup than Mitch Trubisky 4 years ago, but I don't think Justin Fields is going to turn out as good of a quarterback as the other players. But they said that they were going to stay with Andy Dalton for this year. I would imagine they would just get rid of him next year, or if in the middle of the year, if he's not playing good, they're going to bring in Justin Fields to play. But yeah, I was looking at my phone and saw the Bears jump from 20 to 11, and I just screamed they're going to pick a quarterback, and that's what they did. Because nobody jumps that high up just to pick a different position. So number 12, the Cowboys pick Micah Parsons. Of course, with Sean Lee retiring, I thought he was a linebacker. I'm not quite sure. I think he's a linebacker, but they need to fill that position. So Micah Parsons was available. He was the best linebacker. I'm not saying that he was the best guy in the draft at that moment, but the Cowboys honestly could have traded down and still got him and got more picks. But they got Micah Parsons at 12. So number 13, the Chargers pick Rashawn Slater. I see this pick as a good pick for them. They need to protect Justin Herbert, their future quarterback. This year in free agency, they got a center, Corey Linsley, out of Green Bay. They're ramping up the offensive line, and I see them being a playoff team, maybe like a wild card, 6th, 7th seed this year, if they, get good coaching. Number 14, the Jets pick the top offensive line after all the other ones went. I believe Rashawn Slater. Rashawn Slater was later on for the Giants, I believe. But they picked an offensive line from UFC, protect Zach Wilson. I believe they moved up for this pick too. But you got to protect Zach Wilson with a team as bad as the Jets. I mean, you're gonna have to pick an offensive line. You're gonna have to work on offense before defense. 15, the Patriots picked Mac Jones. It was either this one or Justin Fields. At least the Bears didn't make a mistake to pick Mac Jones. I don't think Mac Jones is going to turn out as a good quarterback either. But they fell to the Patriots. He fits their offense good. And he looked exactly like Tom Brady's draft picture. So, but instead of picking him in the 6th round, they picked him in the 1st round. 16, the Cardinals pick Xavier Collins, ramp up that defense after picking J.J. Watt up in free agency. They're going to be a scary defensive team this year. I would see them be a wild card team after going 8-8. Almost making the playoffs last year, but the Bears took their spot. They're going to be a good playoff team as well. The Raiders, next on 17, they pick Alex Leatherwood. Of course, yeah, you have a 2nd round talent in the 1st round. This one was a questionable pick by the Raiders. I would have liked them to see I would like to see them pick someone else, but Alex Leatherwood is what they picked. It's not, their fault that they picked it. I mean, it is their fault. Yeah, that was just not a good pick. Dolphins, 18, pick Jalen Phillips, an edge out of Miami. Good to work on offense and defense. That was one of my, kind of little prediction in there. Of course, I didn't make a mock draft. I wish I would, but the Dolphins pick up a decent defensive player, which is good. Their defense was good last year, except for against the Bills where it mattered most. You needed to be 11-5 to make the playoffs, and you let Buffalo score 56 points on you. They need the it's a good pick. Washington picks Jamin Davis. I mean, they should have picked. I would imagine tonight in the second round they might pick a quarterback just because all the first round quarterbacks went. They should have moved up to get one, but you work on defense, you work on vamping that up a little bit more. But they need a quarterback in a round in the second or third round because Ryan Fitzpatrick is just not going to cut it this year. 20, the Giants picked Kadarius Toney, wide receiver. There was another wide receiver that was on the board that was better than Kadarius Toney, but the Giants moved down to pick him, which it was good. At least they didn't pick him up in the 11th pick. But Giants are also a team that needs a quarterback. Daniel Jones had some time to develop, and he's not developing into a player that they thought that he was going to be. So, but wide receiver, hopefully maybe another year if it doesn't work out for Daniel Jones the next year they'll pick a quarterback, but for right now you got to put weapons for him to use. 21, Colts pick Kwity Paye. A lot of raw talent like this is saying over here. They had throughout the season last year they had the number one defense in the NFL. So hopefully, they'll keep that up, especially with the new additions that they have, and the offense getting a newer quarterback. So you don't have like a 37-year-old throwing the ball to you anymore. You have a good young, in the 20s, Carson Wentz. So hopefully he can play as good as his 12-4, 13-3 days. I believe it was 12-4, but yeah. 22, the Titans picked up Caleb Farley. This pick right here, I mean, I get that the Titans picked him up, but the injuries throughout his college career is not going to really help him out as much. He's a real good pickup if he's healthy, but if, he's injured, this might be a bust situation here. The Vikings pick at 23, Christian Darrisaw, offensive tackle. Great pick. Protect Kirk Cousins more. They picked a wide receiver last year, so they don't need another wide receiver. Just offensive tackle. They also needed a cornerback or anything on defense. Their defense is young yet, and I believe they're going to be a scary team in a few years again. But for right now, help the offensive line. 24 Steelers picked Najee Harris. They weren't trying to pick the best player in the first round. They just needed to fill in one of their needs. James Conner went to the Chiefs this year, so they did need a running back, but they also needed a center as Mike Pouncey retired this year. I honestly would have saw them pick a center, but they went ahead and picked a running back. They picked a running back that probably would have went in the second round, if not to the Jaguars, as they picked a running back as well. But, this pick should have came later. It was not a real good pickup. I mean, it was a real good pickup for that position, but they could have honestly picked the running back in round 2 or round 3. Jaguars select Travis Etienne. I'm sorry if I butchered that name up, but he got reunited with Trevor Lawrence, and that's why they kind of picked him up. But honestly, the Jaguars, they should have picked a defensive player here. I wouldn't have seen them do both offense and just work on that this year. It kind of sucks that they use both their first round picks on two offensive players, but honestly, if they would have done that offensive player, they should have picked either an offensive lineman or a wide receiver. I just don't really see the running back just being good in this situation. The Browns picked Greg Newsome on 26. That's a good pickup as well, working on defense a lot more. Honestly, I don't really see any holes in that team. Um, they got really good players. They got Odell Beckham, Jarvis Landry, Myles Garrett. They got Baker Mayfield as their future quarterback. They also got Nick Chubb. So they got a lot of offensive players. They just need to work on that defense a little bit, and that's what they did. Ravens select Rashad Bateman, wide receiver, at 27. They needed help on wide receiver. This is a good pickup. I saw them pick up a wide receiver. But, at the end of the day, yep, you helped Lamar Jackson. Good job. 28, the Saints picked Peyton Turner, an edge. I don't know about this pick. Good that they picked a defensive player, but they're also a team that needs a quarterback a little bit. They paid Taysom Hill 4 years for being their next quarterback, but he's also 27, 28, 29 years old. Drew Brees just retired. That's a massive hole that you need to fill. But working on defense, I guess defense does win championships. So, 29, the Packers pick Eric Stokes. I saw them either pick an offensive tackle, wide receiver, or cornerback in this situation. I would have liked them to trade it up, but they stayed right where they were. I guess their player fell in their lap. Cornerback is a good position to fill, especially when we re-signed King the 1 year and he kind of ruined our Super Bowl chances last year. But it was a good position to fill in the first round. But in my mind, this was not the player that the Packers needed. I really felt Asante Samuel was a first-round pick, and he was still available. But I guess teams just see him as a second-round talent, but I feel like he's a first. 30, the Bills select an edge out of Miami. Great team. Need to fill tiny holes out. This is a great pickup. You're going to see this team a lot in the playoffs next year as well, and 2 years to come if their team doesn't fall apart. Number 1, the Ravens picked Jason Away, an edge. It's a good pick as well. They got the pick from the Chiefs. The Chiefs got Orlando Brown in exchange. I talked about that 2 videos ago. But picking up defense and offense, that's what the teams really need to do in that situation. You shouldn't focus on one side of the ball. You should focus on both if you have 2 first-round picks, and this is what the Ravens did. They picked up a position that they needed to fill. They didn't pick up the best available player at that moment, so it was a good pickup. The Buccaneers select Joe Tyron. Good pickup as well. I saw them pick up a quarterback, but not in the first round because all the first rounds went. But with Tom Brady being 43 years old this year, you're going to have to start finding that quarterback option because he's only going to be played till he's like 45, so he's got like 2 years left in him. So, yeah, that is the first round. Round 2 and 3, I believe. I believe they're doing both of them tonight at around 7 o'clock. So I will make a video after that as well to talk about like the surprising picks that happened or interesting picks or really good pickups that the teams had. So if you guys enjoyed this video, I hope you guys can like the video and subscribe for more content like this.